Hello, all my beautiful aviators. Randomet787 here. So, we got some more info from Flight Simulator 2024 at the Flight Sim Expo just yesterday, or maybe depending on when I post this. It was posted on the 22nd, the actual expo, the conference. So I figured today we go through some of the big highlights in the game. I'm probably not gonna be able to cover everything, but I did have quite a few things that stood out to me. So let's jump right into the video. All right, kicking off, one of the things that surprised me the most, I actually was not expecting this, because a lot of people were wondering, from the trailers that we've seen a lot of people walking around towards the aircraft. Some people were thinking, is this just a cinematic or something like that? Can you actually walk around and everything? Well, Asobo kind of dropped the mic on this one. You can actually get out of your plane physically now and walk around the airplane and do pre-flight checks, and take off pitot tube covers, everything. I was not expecting Asobo to actually do this, so this is a insanely welcome surprise, and I'm sure it's going to make this game so much more immersive. I am so happy that we get to do this and do pre-flights around the plane. I cannot wait to see what it looks like in action. Some other surprising news for those that were wondering if Flight Simulator 2020 was just going to kind of be left in the dustbin after maybe like a year or two. Well, Asobo has put those qualms to rest. Flight Simulator 2020 will be getting monthly updates all the way up till 2028. So for those that feel like they're going to get left behind and feel like they got to jump to 2024 right away, no need to worry. You're going to be a-okay. And I'm really glad that Asobo has given a specific timeline rather than just saying, oh, you know, we're going to continue to support it. No, they gave an actual timeline, and I do believe that they'll meet that. And I'm really glad to see that they're actually going to keep on supporting the sim. Another big surprise from Asobo is that they are going to be making a brand new aircraft for the sim, and it's one I never expected, and it's going to be, according to Asobo, their most complex plane yet. The Boeing 737 MAX will be in the base game on day one, and a pretty interesting aircraft to pick, but I could definitely tell you, I believe this plane is going to be a lot more reliable than the one in real life. Yeah, I went there, and people were already making comments in the live chat. I was even commenting, is this plane gonna crash, or his MCAS, or people are saying, is MCAS gonna be in this, because that's what caused all those two crashes. But still, I think it is cool. I've been on the 737 MAX once before. I won't lie, I was a little nervous about it, but it was actually quite a nice ride. It was actually a surprisingly quiet airplane in regards to the engines, but this is really cool. I'm glad Asobo is making this. They didn't really say if it's going to be study level, but if it's their most complex, I assume it is most likely going to be a study level aircraft. Will it be as good as, say, a PMDG plane? Time will tell. We'll see, but I'm glad that it's going to be in the game. One of the things that Asobo has said that they wanted to showcase more with 2024 is the fact that they want to make the natural environments feel a lot more detailed than, like, say, they tried to do with the cityscapes, like an FS 2020 with all the photogrammetry. So it is confirmed that they are going to be having 3D meshes with pretty much all the terrain from what I can tell. So the ground details are going to look far more crisp, far more detailed. They're not going to just be like those 2D meshes. So the ground detail is going to look a lot more nice, and you can just see that just from the trailers alone. So I'm actually surprised that they can actually pull this off, but the technology these guys have, I guess it's not too surprising. One cool little fact when it comes to the Red Bull air races, those inflatable cones can actually be hit and deflated like in real life. So you'll actually be able to hit them and they'll deflate and chunks will fly off. I thought that was a cool little touch. And another thing that was touched on was character models for pilots, and it will reflect tons of different nationalities, and they'll each look different according to the region that they're in, which I think is pretty cool, because yeah, the avatars that we got in 2020 is insanely limited, but I'm glad to see that we're gonna have a ton more options, so that way, you know, we can see different cultures and see how they dress over in other countries. I think that would be pretty cool. And this is pretty much I guess was already kind of confirmed, but now we have it 100% confirmed from Asobo themselves. The A330 will be officially in the simulator, and it will be made by any build. So we already know this is going to be a study level aircraft. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic to fly. I'm excited to fly it, but I'm not going to lie, I really love the A320, especially the Indy builds. I've only flown it once, but I loved it. I never tried the A330, but I don't think it's much different than the A320. It's just a much long hauler plane. Now this, I can't remember if it's actually in FS 2020, but apparently in 2024 we are getting ray tracing. That was showcased with all the shadow textures. They got real-time ray tracing, I guess if you could call it that, going on in the game. You know, I can't remember if it is an FS 2020. They got some kind of thing to make it similar to that. You can let me know in the comments below on that. But ray tracing is going to be in Flight Sim 2024, so it's going to make it look a lot prettier. And speaking of pretty things, we are going to have 30 different types of biomes, such as rainforests and mangroves in the sim. So that one shot you see in the trailer, the new trailer, where you got all the rain coming on the windshield, that was actually a rainforest. So it's going to be really cool to see that other areas of the world are going to be much more immersive and are going to be accurate to how they actually are in real life. And this is something that's definitely been requested from the sim community, is that they want the clouds to be improved. And they are going to be improved, especially when it comes to cirrus clouds, to be more specific. And the new lighting engine is going to enhance the detail even more. I don't know if it is a new lighting engine, but they definitely improved the lighting so they could get more colors and variations with different cloud layers. And you can just look at some of the pictures that they've shown. It's just self-evident that sunsets and sunrises are going to look so much better in this sim. And this is another pleasant surprise. I did not expect this from Asobo, but apparently every aircraft in this game is going to have some form of wake turbulence, whether it's from jets, prop planes, or helicopters. There is going to be wake turbulence now, which I think is awesome, because this is something that when you fly in the real world, you got to take into consideration for it, because it can actually be very, very dangerous. So I'm really happy that they're putting this in the sim. This is only going to help with people who want to train to become pilots and learn how to avoid wake turbulence. I just hope it does happen with AI planes. I'm trying. I guess I assume that they'll be able to do that, but I'm really glad that wake turbulence is going to be in the game. And as we heard about a year ago, that there is going to be brand new ship AI in this game. And from what we heard, every ship in the world apparently is going to be in the game, and they're going to be getting position data for it every 30 seconds. Now, when Asobo says ships, do they just mean cargo and cruise ships, or are they talking about every single boat in the world? I can't really see that being a thing. I'm assuming that it's going to be for mostly cargo ships and like really big things, like maybe yachts, maybe cruise ships. You'll be able to see them like when you're going around Miami or California, something like that. So I wouldn't assume like you're going to be able to go to like small or big lakes and see boats going around. I don't think that's the case, but I would definitely like to see that. I'm not gonna lie, but I understand that would be a very big task. Also, speaking of boats, water is now fully simulated in 3D, and boats will actually move with the waves, because I think from what I recall, the waves weren't all really accurate in FS 2020. They looked nice, but I don't think they actually had any effect on your plane all that much, at least from what I can remember. I can't remember the last time I tried it, but this will be interesting when you want to do water landings and having to, you know, avoid big waves and using the waves to maybe help you get in the air better, because you need to have a little friction, apparently, from what I know. When it comes to water takeoffs, you want to actually have a little bit of waves and have it not just be flat. And now let's move on to all you helicopter lovers. So for those of you that love to hunt down helipads, well, let me tell you this, Asobo is definitely going to be delivering you the goods. Every helipad on Earth is going to be in this sim. That just blew my mind that they were able to actually find every single helipad. And it, apparently from the expo, it took them about a good year and a half, I believe, to find every single one of them. Just the fact that they're even doing this alone, it just, like, they're not leaving any stone unturned, sparing no expense to all people who love different types of aircraft. So I'm really happy for helicopter guys. I myself, not really into helicopters. I like flying them once in a while, but for all the heli lovers, I'm sure this is a dream come true for them. So I'm really happy for you guys. And let's go ahead and take a look at maybe some graphic comparisons for Flight Sim 2020 to 2024. And for those of you who are thinking that this was probably just going to be, you know, a minor upgrade in graphics, you know, like you can see like some more details and stuff. Let me tell you, this is pretty much going to put all those doubts to rest. If you just look at some of these screenshots right here, there's almost no comparison. You can easily tell that this is a major upgrade, and it's not just when it comes to, you know, like forests and nature. Even airports are getting upgrades, like as we can see here from JFK, from FS 2020 to 2024. There's going to be even more detail now, and apparently Asobo has said that they want to make a lot of these airports feel more alive, and the world itself, because I'm not going to lie, I'd be lying if I said if the world at FS 2020 does feel a little dead at times, especially at airports. So I kind of hope at my local airport at Albany International in upstate New York that they can make smaller, like mid-sized airports feel a little bit more alive. And they say they're gonna be doing that by having more people walking around, like people walking through terminals and stuff like that. So I really feel like this sim is gonna be far more immersive than any sim on the market. And I guess speaking of a little bit of immersion, I guess if this makes the game more immersive, when you land on grass or do grass landings, it will actually get flatter as you roll through it, so the grass will actually react to you. And when it comes to landing or taxiing on grass, Asobo has said that this is gonna make the plane feel a little bit different on different surfaces. So like you'll have harder landings or softer landings. It'll handle differently depending on the plane you're flying. So I'm really glad that they're doing that. Although I do feel like that they felt pretty good in FS 2020. Like I actually felt like I was on grass with the way it was reacting, but if they can make that even better and more difficult and make it feel like more like the real thing, I'm all for it. I love a good challenge in aviation. Now, one of the questions that I had going into this expo was when it comes to career mode, were these just going to be enhanced, more in-depth missions like an FSX that we just play a few times and then just go back to free flight? No. Now, granted, someone asked this in the Q&A, and apparently, according to Asobo, this is going to be a full-fledged career mode with different rankings, and you got to actually earn ranks to be and stuff to like be able to fly certain planes. You got to get endorsements or something like that. But that's the most detail they went into. I do assume we are probably going to get a feature discovery series that will talk about the career mode, but from what we're hearing, it is going to be fully fledged out. You actually earn ranks as you go, so I'm really excited about that because I don't want this just to be a thing where I only play a couple missions and then just go back to free flight. No, I actually want to get into this and maybe work my way up to the ranks of an airline pilot or a fighter pilot. I would really love to see how that goes. And when it comes to animals, as we know, we had quite a few of them in FS 2020, but even more of them will be in the sim, but not much detail was given beyond that, and they will be discussed at a later date. And when it comes to ultralights, apparently we're going to be getting 3 new ultralights in the sim. Now, I don't believe we had any in FS 2020 that came from Asobo or that were added afterward. If I recall, maybe there are some ultralights, but I can't think of any at the moment. You can let me know in the comments below if I forgot any, but it's good to know that we're going to be getting some ultralight love. I can't wait to see it. And for all you people out there that love to do those flight plans, oh boy, we got some good stuff here. So, as all of you know, Working Title has been very big in the flight sim community with their avionics, but now they're bringing a fully fledged flight planner into the sim where you can find out information of NOTAMs, notices to airmen. They go pretty in depth during the presentation. It's basically, in a nutshell, going to be kind of like a sim brief implanted in Flight Simulator. Now, is it going to be as good as sim brief? That I don't know. I don't know too much about sim brief. I do use it for jet flights, but so I don't know what the comparison's going to be, but it's just cool to have one that's going to be built right into the sim, and you can even plan your flights on your phone, tablet, browser, or while you're in flight. So I think that's awesome that you can be able to do this pretty much right out of the box. It's going to be built right into the sim. So I'm glad we're getting a much more complex flight planner, because the default one in FS 2020, while it can get the job done, it's definitely not as good as when you look at something like SimBrief. And one of the most requested features was replay functionality, and we are finally getting it in the simulator. And it's very similar to the other replay features that we've gotten with add-ons, like being able to take control of your plane at certain points, and then so you can redo takeoffs and landings. And apparently other aircraft can be shown in replays, so I do believe AI will actually show up, and you'll also get a flyby camera as well. We didn't get too much info on it, but I'm sure we will get some more in the future. And this one actually hits very close to home for me, because me being a student glider pilot myself who is going for his private this year, it's almost, I guess in a way, maybe almost choked me up a little bit. I don't know if I want to go that far, but it definitely hit me in the feels. So apparently, according to Asobo, all glider clubs / schools are in the world are going to be in the sim. So I guess this pretty much includes the glider club that I'm a part of, and it's called Adirondack Soaring Group, in case any of you would like to join, if you're in the upstate New York area. Truly fantastic club. So if I can actually see my club in this game fully detailed, I'm not gonna lie, I might get a little choked up, because that would mean so much to me. I'm so happy that gliders are getting so much love in this sim. It just really feels awesome, because in my opinion, gliding is the best way to get into aviation. It's the cheapest way most of the time, and it teaches a great stick and rudder controls, and I'm absolutely in love with it. Now we come back to, I guess, people who like to hunt down landmarks such as oil rigs. Well, you're in for a treat here, especially all you helicopter lovers. Every oil rig in the world is also going to be in the sim. Again, it just goes to show you that Asobo is not sparing any expense here, so that'll be very cool for all the oil rig hunters that want to go and hunt them down. That is probably going to be a lot of fun. And as we all know, Orbix is one of the pioneers, in fact, if not the pioneer, when it comes to third-party scenery add-ons, and they have worked with Asobo in the past, and they are actually going to be implementing every towering obstruction in the world, such as antennas, cooling towers, wind turbines, etc. But what's also cool is this is not just for Flight Simulator 2024, this will also be for Flight Simulator 2020, so 2020 people still not getting left out. And I think this is awesome, because obstructions are something that people have to worry about a lot for all aircraft, and they're going to be going off of sectional charts. I believe that's what they're called. I'm still studying for my written. So it'll be very cool to be able to actually see these things in real life, so that way you can apply it to the real world. And this could really help a lot of pilots who are flying VFR a lot to know landmarks and to know where they are in the world. I think this is only going to benefit aviation in both, you know, the simulator and the real world. And last but not least, let's talk about our good friends over at Got Friends. See what I did there? All right, I'll move on. So apparently they're actually working on 3 planes with this simulator. I'm not going to pronounce the first part of this plane, because I don't know how to do it. But it's called the Optica, this plane, the really funny looking one. They are going to be developing this plane, and they're also going to be developing the STEMI S12G glider, which is a motor glider that can be self-launched, and it's a side-by-side configuration instead of a front and back with the seating. I think this thing just looks freaking awesome. And they're also working on a bush plane called the Draco X, and I gotta tell you, the guy who actually worked on this plane in real life is kind of a badass. Just go watch it, you'll know what I mean. This guy is just like super passionate and makes some really badass looking planes. So all of these will be developed by Got Friends, one of the best third-party aircraft developers out there. They're just awesome people. I'm so glad that they're getting so much love from the community and from Asobo themselves, and getting all the support that they need. So I'm really happy to see that. And guys, that's gonna pretty much do it for all the info that we got at the Flight Sim Expo. It was quite a lot. I'm sure there's some questions that some of us still may have, but from what we're hearing, I'm telling you, the more I hear about this game, the more I'm getting sold on it, the more I'm feeling like this is not just an incremental upgrade, but this is almost close to an overhaul. I do hope we hear more soon. I'm sure there's gonna be feature discovery series coming out. We still got a few months to go before this is released on November 19th. But at the moment, I could see myself getting this on day one. It's looking very likely. And we're just getting so many aircraft in this game, it's making my head spin. We are probably in for something very, very truly special. So anyways, guys, if you watched the expo, what are some things that stood out to you? What are you looking most forward to? And if there was something that wasn't talked about, I like to know what it is that you would have liked to see and gone into more detail in the comments below. Just let's all have some chats going on. Let's get the hype going. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for me in this video. Thank you so much for watching and sticking through it. And I will catch you all possibly in the next reaction or discussion video, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace out, guys, and happy flying.